Welcome to another video, you guys, and today I'm bringing you a very well requested topic, and that is how do you move from the US to Canada? Okay, I know it's a very common topic, and it almost seems like people in the US who have been in the US, they have some issues, they want to move to Canada, and people who have been in Canada, they always want to move to the US. So I thought, why not make these videos? But for now, the first one that I'm making is how you move from the US to Canada. Again, if you want the second part, that is from Canada to US, you can comment down below. All right. Now, one thing that you need to know is that every single year, and even during the COVID-19 pandemic, tens of thousands of people move from the US to Canada, and this happens all the time. It is very common, not just residents but also citizens of the US move to Canada. But in this video, I'm going to be assuming, and this is important guys, I'm going to be assuming that you do not hold a green card, that is you're not a permanent resident in the US. At the same time, I'm also going to be assuming that you're not a citizen of the US, right? So these are the two things I'm assuming, because mostly when people move, they're usually in these categories only. You know, they've completed their education, maybe finished with their F1 visa, now they're on an H1B, not able to get a green card, and they're just tired of it and they just want to move. Well, here's your answer. Here's how you do that. I'm going to be giving you 3 such ways that you can move. But first, what is the purpose that people move? And generally, for my audience, for you guys, the general purpose could be something like immigration, it could be something like work, or it could be something like study. So these are usually the 3 reasons that people usually have to move to Canada from the US, right? And now I'm going to be bringing you some of those schemes, okay? So the first scheme over here, and this applies really worldwide, and there's generally nothing special about US, but you will have one thing that is going to be an edge for you. So let me actually tell you about the Express Entry program. I'm sure you've heard of it, right? The points-based system which lets you get PR if you cross that certain threshold. It's called the CRS score, right? So if you have a CRS score of, let's say, 600, and you know the threshold is 500, then you have crossed this threshold, right? And you get an ITA, that's an invitation to apply. You apply for the residency in Canada, and basically that's about it. But again, getting those points, how do you get those points? Well, points are given to you based on your age, based on the level of education you have. The education, whether it's in Canada or education from a neighboring country, or it's from a separate country, from another country, which is not one of these countries, that is, right? So all of these things matter, whether you're married, what is your spouse's age, what is their education level. So all of these things will come into the picture. And in general, there's just so many things that I can't even point out in this video. I've actually made separate videos for that. Either way, the important part is that you have to get a certain number of points. And the one thing that can help you get the maximum amount of points, well, guess what? It's an offer letter from an employer who's in Canada, who's willing to offer you a job. And in general, I can tell you one thing. If you are in the US, you probably won't find issues finding that employer that would be willing to offer you a job, okay? Because US and Canada go hand in hand in most cases, and because they are so close by, employers would generally be okay with hiring people directly from the US, right? Especially if you have education from the US. So that's something that you can use to your advantage. And in general, Express Entry can be a great way to move to Canada. One thing to note is that the draw for this Express Entry, this threshold, this happens every 2 weeks approximately, and that's so amazing. You don't have to wait 6-7 months or even 12 months for it. It happens almost every 2 weeks. So it's happening right now as we speak. And in general, you should definitely check out the Canadian immigration website, because they list down the scores as well, what has been the threshold and what has been the trend over the past few months. So that's something that can really be important to you, and you can basically calculate your CRS score pretty easily. So that's the number one way, guys. Again, this is not specific to Canada, but the one thing that is an edge over here is that you can get an offer letter from an employer, hopefully much more easier as compared to if you're residing in Asia or Europe, okay? So keep that in mind. That's your first thing. Point number 2, guys, is basically something that goes hand in hand with the Express Entry program, which is the PNP, Provincial Nominee Program. Now, let me actually explain this to you. So there are provinces in Canada, right? New Brunswick, Ontario, Newfoundland and Labrador, etc., right? So many of them, British Columbia. See, these are very common, and PNPs are basically schemes that these provinces would bring out, okay, look, British Columbia today thinks that, look, we have great developers and we have great farmers, but we are lacking designers. And basically, how will British Columbia know that? The people who are employers in British Columbia, they will tell the government, or they will basically tell the province's head that, look, we feel that we really need designers and they're just not available over here. We feel like we need those, but we're not able to get those people, right? So the one thing that the government over here does is they launch a PNP for designers, and people who are into design of different types, they can basically go ahead and they can apply, right? And in general, what then employers will do, they will be looking at applications with the government, and they'll be able to tell, okay, look, great, we are interested in hiring these people, we're interested in sponsoring them, and that's how you will get your PNP approval, right? What that does really is that gives you 600 points additional to the original score you had as your CRS score. So let's say if your original score was just 250, now you have 600 more points just because you went through the PNP program and they needed someone like you in British Columbia, right? So that's an amazing thing, right? Now you have not 250 points, but you actually have 850 points. All of a sudden, you are way above the crowd. And that's a perfect example of how beautifully PNP works. Okay, so that's something that you should definitely keep in mind. PNP is going to be one of your best options. If you can find the exact province that is looking for people like you, guess what? You're just in luck. You will definitely get ahead and you will be able to get that express entry ITA because it's almost guaranteed with that 600 point boost. And finally, there are many other schemes available, especially if you are a business owner or a self-employed person. Trust me, if you are well known in your field as a self-employed person, you don't really need a lot. You can actually go ahead and apply through one of those schemes. Or if you have a business running and you want to set up in Canada, or you want to invest in Canada, etc., well, Canada will welcome you with open arms. These are some of the screens right here on your screen right now that you can utilize in such scenarios. Of course, this video is not about that, and I know most of you will not be interested in this, but again, if you are, you can comment down below and I'll make a separate video on all of these schemes. I know that these are definitely a lot to cover, so maybe I'll cover them one by one, but again, it depends on your choice. Okay, so guess what? These are the 3 ways you can use to immigrate to Canada, or basically to go to Canada for now, right? And basically start getting a job, start living a life over there, especially if you are from the US. Now these in general, like I said, I'm not keeping it specific to people who have a green card or have citizenship of the US, but if you have those, there are other schemes available as well, and those I haven't talked about in this video. I'm sorry, but again, it's really important to keep in mind that the 99% of the audience would not fall into that category, so I didn't do that. All right, again, thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're interested in more content like this. Go ahead and check out my Instagram because there's so much more content coming your way related to this video on that page. And finally, thank you so much for watching. I truly value every single minute that you spent with me today. Again, this is Yash Mitra signing off. Goodbye and take care for now. I'll see you in the next one.